I'm Gitali Thakur, who is the founder of Maitri Livelihood Services Private Limited. It is incorporated last year, 2014 in September. The mission of Maitri is to generate a large number of dignified and fair livelihoods for home-based caregivers, and we do this by organizing skill training and employment opportunities. Most of the women who join this work generally come from a rural area, so they come with very poor skills, and they also come with very lots of vulnerability because urban place is generally much more hostile than your rural place. At the same time, we also find that there are a lot of women who come from a background of domestic violence, and though they maybe have done a little bit of education and then dropped out of the formal education system, they do not have a livelihood option where they can fall to in order to economically sustain themselves. There is no legal framework to protect them, there is no social security for them, and since they also work in private homes, it also remains very isolated. So what we are trying to do is giving a skilled, reliable and trustworthy help for an urban middle class home. At the same time, give a dignified, fair livelihood to a poor woman. We create three kinds of jobs for them. One is domestic work and housekeeping. Second is child care. And then the third category is geriatric care, which goes to include people needing assistance in the old age as well as patients who are bedridden and need assistance on a daily basis. We generally give them a lot of technical training, which probably she never had before. But this training prepares them to take care of the challenges of a modern household. So she comes across as a much more confident person. We also give them identity card. Then we also have a certificate when they pass out as graduates from our training center. And many of these times, actually first time she has actually held a certificate in her hand. So it's like really very empowering for her. When she goes out, we see a much more confident person. A person who looks at her own job with much more respect and dignity. And our whole mission is how do you create this dignity quotient in their jobs. We also ensure that these women get support post-placement. Every second Saturday we organize meetings for them, and we have very high participation in these meetings, almost 80 to 85% of attendance. Some of them who have very inspiring stories to share, so we give them a platform to tell their stories, the changes it has brought into their life. Sometimes there may be a lawyer who is coming and talking to them about domestic violence, because most of them actually, when such an incident happens, don't know where to go and seek support. In the second Saturdays, we celebrate their birthdays because they help us celebrate our children's birthday, but nobody actually remembers their birthdays. It's like, the women, you can see them, they're like playing and being very cheerful, letting their hair go down. It is a new enterprise, trying to do something new and also trying to do it in a more economically sustainable way. So that makes funding even much more challenging. Most of the time, the funder who is funding you does not have that much of time. So he wants to see that change in a much shorter time than you would like to actually see. So in that process, I think they become a little short-term oriented. But I must say, actually I find Upaya is really very, very different from the rest of the funding people. I just feel that this team does not have the funders' arrogance, that they don't talk to you from the position of, higher up. They are so respectful and they are so humble. When they ask for information also, they are like so accommodating, which is really rare. So one of the other things that I have found very valuable from Upaya's side is the advisory service they give. Upaya has been working very closely with us on this financial management part of it. So mostly the focus has been on creating our entire 5-year model ready now, and also manage our cash flows and all better, and have a much more robust reporting system. Well, I think this whole SPM exercise will make us look at our entire work in a more structured way, where exactly we have been able to create an impact, and again in which part of the household level vulnerability actually we are being able to address. It is very difficult to measure change in her life until and unless you are going and doing it in a very conscious way. Goes through the women, they often spend only for the family welfare. She knows the family priorities very, very well, and most of her aspirations are actually not her own aspiration. It is linked to the family. So you are actually creating happier homes. Like a woman who actually did not have a mean of income before, and she was actually dependent on others. Now through the Maitri support, she has actually been able to be economically independent.